Welcome to Theater Crafts, where we take theater memorabilia and we make brand new treasures. All right, so I don't know about you, but when I get flowers on opening night or closing night, I just love those flowers so much because they have a special moment in time that they represent. So when those flowers have a long gone, they've died, they're in the vase, my family teases me because I have a hard time letting go of those. So I have found a way to keep those flowers and keep that memory, that special moment in time alive by taking those flowers and making sun catchers. So these sun catchers are made with flowers that I received on closing night of a production. Aren't those special? They're so special, so sparkly, and they're able to keep that particular moment in time for years and years to come. So today we're going to take flowers and we're going to make sun catchers. All right, let's get crafting. Welcome back to the workbench. So here we are. So let's go over what we need, and I want to give you a closer look at this sun catcher here. So these were created with some beads that I had in my stash, and I'll talk a little bit more about the beads later. But we've got these acrylic pieces that were made with this mold here. And like I said, these are flowers that I got. It's a little hard for you to see with the light, but these are flowers that I got from productions that I had been in or involved in, and people had given me flowers at the end of the show, and I'm known for having a hard time letting go of flowers. So what I do is I hold on to the flowers for a very long time until they're long past their peak. And in fact, I have a jar here that I keep with flowers in there that have dried from bouquets that people had given me. So I grabbed some of those flowers here because the face of the mold here is so small. I could only have the smallest of flowers, so I grabbed the small ones that I had from my stash that I thought I might want to use. Okay, and so that's what I used in there. So this is a mold that you need. I got this mold online, pretty inexpensive. You can get molds just about anywhere now. It's amazing. You can go to a fabric store, a craft store, and they have molds because acrylic or epoxy casting is really popular now. You want to have something to mix your epoxy. I've got a mixing stick here. This particular, it's a little hard for you to see with the glare, but it actually has measurements on the side. You don't need to do that. In the past, I have sometimes used just a measuring cup that I've designated just for this. In my mold, I don't know if you can tell, I've got another one here. I actually added a little bit of glitter. If you can see in there, there's purple glitter in here. So I have some glitter that I wanted to add, and some stars. You can see, I don't know if you can see the stars. There's one right here. You can see. So I added stars in there, again, just so that it kind of glistens in the light, which is really fun. So we'll add those. And then to add the glitter, I used a couple of just toothpicks. And this is the epoxy that I'm using, but there are lots of different epoxies available. This one, it's a two-part system, and so you need to mix both parts in equal amounts. In this particular one, it's a high gloss, and we'll get to that in a moment. And because epoxy has a chemical reaction, you do want to wear gloves. And so I have gloves here for that. All right, so that's basically what is needed. I might use a pair of tweezers, like if I want to place the flowers, but these are all dried flowers, so they're easy. I don't even need scissors to cut them. I just break them with my fingers. But I thought these flowers had kind of a nice, kind of a muted tone, so I liked that a lot. All right, so let me just clear the space a little bit and we'll get started. All right, so here is my cup, and here are the two parts for the epoxy. So you've got these two parts. You don't want to mix them ahead of time. You've got a limited amount of working time with these, and obviously I have my gloves on. So like I said, this particular cup has the measurements on the side, so I can take a look and know that I'm giving the same amount of each. So one of the parts of the epoxy is thicker than the other. This is the thicker one, so it does take a little bit of time to kind of fill. I'm going to put, it's kind of always hard to know how much. I'm going to say I made 4 of the acrylic rounds for the last one. I only used 3 in the final sun catcher. Okay, so I'm going to use 2.5 for this. Okay. Now I'm going to put 2.5 of the other part. You see, this is much more fluid. Okay, you can't see it, but I can see on the side that it's. Okay, I'm going to tighten those up, and I have a popsicle stick here, and you're going to mix, and you don't want to mix too vigorously. I tend to do that because you don't want to get lots of air bubbles, but you really want to mix this well, and well, like as in like 5 minutes. You can see it's starting to turn cloudy a little bit, and you want to make sure that both parts are really mixed well so that you get the best strength. So like I said, I'm going to mix this for about 5 minutes. You do not need to watch me mix it, so I'm going to stop the video, and I will come back when it's all mixed. All right, so I've been mixing for several minutes, and you can see the consistency here. There are tiny, tiny little bubbles in there. Hopefully those will level out when we start working. All right, so again, here's the mold, and I'm going to start at least with 3. We'll see how much epoxy we have. So I'm just going to start slowly pouring it. If you pour really quickly, you're going to get a lot of those bubbles that I was talking about, so you want to be really careful. Now, I don't know if you've noticed on the mold, there are these pieces sticking up. That's so that the mold, the epoxy will leave a space for the connectors for the different pieces. I'm only going about halfway up so that we can add some of the elements. Okay, so you see there, about halfway up. So the first thing I'm going to do is add some stars. I'm going to take this glove off for a moment. And I'm going to add some stars. And I'm going to add some glitter. Okay, so now with the glitter, I found it was easiest. I took my popsicle stick, my toothpick, and I put just a tiny little bit of the acrylic on there, and I put it inside, and then I just started swirling. Just a little bit. You don't want it to be too much because I tend to get a little overzealous with the glitter sometimes. But I love this. And you could do them all different. I chose to do them all with a similar look. Just I felt that they would kind of coordinate. But you certainly could do whatever you like. Oops, there's a big blob right there. Okay. And I'm going to hold on to that. Actually, let me grab a towel. Hold on to that because I'm going to add more glitter later. Let's put that on a paper towel so it doesn't ruin my surface. Oh, actually, grab. I am going to put some of the stars in. So I found that, again, this was able to pick up the stars pretty neatly. And I'm just doing this so that we have glitter and stars on both the top and bottom. I'm adding different sizes just for visual interest. You can add as much or as little as you'd like. Okay, there we go. All right, so now it comes to, it's adding the flowers. And again, this is all what suits your taste. So I added the leaves first, and again, these were leaves from flowers that I had gotten when I was involved in a show recently. People gave me flowers, and I just saved them because I just thought they were so pretty, and decided to incorporate them into a sun catcher. I just love. All right, I'm just putting 2 in, trying to mix them up so they don't all look exactly the same. This is, oops. Okay, so now I've got these pink flowers. These are a little bit thicker, you can see, but they just are, they've got such a pretty kind of dainty look to them. So I'm breaking them off so you got the base there. Now these are tricky. I'm gonna, at some point I'm gonna push those down and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna put 1 in each. And I was really looking for color here. I'm just trying to get some visual interest in there. All right, so I have another toothpick here, and I'm just going to try to push it down. And once I add the upper level, that will help to push it down as well, because I'm going to add more of the epoxy on top of it. And with the epoxy you have, in this particular epoxy, you've got about 30 minutes working time. So you do want to work in a expeditious fashion. You don't want to just kind of lollygag. You want to do this all in one sitting. All right, so here's some pretty yellow flowers. And you don't need a lot. That's what's so great about these. You can just take, you know, like honestly, when you're drying flowers, or you could do pressed flowers too. I sometimes will press flowers, but sometimes they lose their color a little bit more, I find, for what I'm doing. If I'm not, may not be doing it correctly, but sometimes I find that I get more color with the dried flowers. So yeah, you could do either one though. You could do pressed or you could do dried. And in this case, like I said, you got to be really careful because the the depth of this is not very thick, and so you do want to make sure that it all is within the area of the mold. Now, you know, even if it sticks out a little bit, I mean, it's not awful if it sticks out a little bit. Actually, some of the ones in this one, you can see it is a little bit bumpy, and it does it is a little bit raised, but actually it doesn't bother me. This side is obviously the side that's close to the mold, but this side is raised a little bit. Okay, we've got these pretty purple flowers. I'm not touching the, oh golly gee willikers, Allison. I have a fan going on in here today because it's kind of warm out, so it's blowing it about a little bit. Come on, turn that way. There we go. Could use tweezers too. There we go. Just taking the toothpick here and squishing it down. Alright, and then I have some white ones over here too. Just white baby's breath. Oh, always pretty. The dried flowers all get caught onto each other. Let's see. Okay, so I've put my gloves back on, and now we're going to add another layer on top. And again, pouring very slowly. I'm going to try to cover the flowers that are there. Now, don't be surprised if the flowers kind of rise to the top. That happened with me before too. I'll show you what I did. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take my popsicle stick, and I'm really going to try to push these inside the epoxy, the acrylic here, and see how they've moved about since I put them in, and that's okay. Just be brave and move them where you want them. You can see this one's sticking out a little bit, so I'm gonna just kind of push that in, just cover them as much as you can. Get that flower in there, that leaf in there, flower in there. Go ahead, go in, get in there. So this pink one's sticking out a little bit. It's a little bit bigger than the others, but I like the color so much that I wanted to include it. Okay, and then same thing over here. Push those down, get in there. I'm also looking for bubbles here, so you can use a heat gun to try to get rid of some bubbles. It's looking good, I think. I don't see a ton of bubbles. And if there are, it's going to add to the sparkle. That's what I say. All right. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to add some more glitter here. Same process that I did earlier. So I'm just going to take my toothpick, put it in, and just add some more on the top. Oh, that was a lot, Allison. That's going to be extra sparkly. Just to add some fun elements to it. You can add some color to this too. I've done that before as well. Like you add color to the epoxy. In fact, we've got some epoxy left. Maybe I'll try doing that. That would give it a little bit more interest. I chose to go this route for this, having them clear, just because I want to be able to see all the beautiful flowers, colors in there. Okay, so there we go. Down there. Okay. So again, we can add some of the little sparkle that we've got here. Just adding some on this side of the ornament or the sun catcher. Adding that in and pushing it down so it's inside the acrylic. You want to make sure that those end pieces, the knobs there, are clear so that they are available for you to, affix them together at the end. That would be problematic for you to. Okay, so they're rising up a little bit, so I'm trying to get them to go down just a smidge. I like it though. They're really fun. I just think these are fun because you just don't know what it's going to look like until the end. So I think that's kind of a fun reveal. Okay, so there we go. So now we're going to have to let this harden. You know, there are different types of epoxy. This one, you need to let it harden for about 12 hours or so. You might want to take just a little paper towel, a little scrap, just to make sure that we don't have any epoxy covering the knobs there. So those are nice and clear for when we want to put the sun catcher together. All right, so there you go. So we're going to wait about 12 hours and then we'll come back and we will put together our sun catcher. So it has been overnight. I've waited a good 12 hours, and actually even longer than that, for these to harden. And I always find that taking them out of the molds is always exciting because you just don't know what it's going to look like. So here we go. So you see we've got the knobs here that will create the holes for us to put the fasteners in. There we go. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. Nice. Oh, they look great. Now, I actually had some extra resin. Nice. Look how pretty that is. I love it. And so I actually did 2 extras just in case. I wasn't sure what they were going to look like. I'm making it sound like it's hard to get out. There we go. Okay, nice. And here's the last one. Beautiful. And so you can see how easy those were to get out of the molds. Very, very easy. And so here they are, and you can see them in comparison to the ones that I did last time. So now I'm going to grab the beads and things like that, and I'll show you how we're going to finish off the sun catcher. Okay, so I've chosen 3 here, and what we're going to do first is we're going to add these jump rings to the acrylic here. So you'll see here that I've got jump rings. Now, these are quite large, these jump rings, and it's just because we need them to be able to get through that the acrylic, and it's quite thick. So I actually had to kind of play with this a little bit. So in opening the jump ring, I have obviously a set of jewelry pliers here. Just kind of twist it. I do have to open it a little bit more just to get it through. I found that it was a little bit tricky to get through, only because of the size of this particular, see how thick the resin is there. So I was able to pull it in and then kind of secure it this way. So it's pretty secure in there, and these hardly weigh anything. So I'm not seeing it as a problem for hanging them anyway. So again, I'm going to just kind of put it through the hole, if you can see, and then it's not going all the way through because it's just not straight enough to go all the way through. But I'm going to take this other end and bring it around and bring it to the hole there so that it's affixed that way. Okay, so I'm going to do that for the other 2, and I'll be right back. All right, so let's talk about the beads. So in the example that I have here, I have beads that were actually in my stash. So I had these beads from previous projects, or truth be told, I had a friend whose mom passed away a few years ago, and she gave me a bunch of her mom's like costume jewelry. And so I had a bunch of necklaces, and these beads here are from one of those necklaces that her mom had. And so there are a bunch, here, a bunch here that were from necklaces. And so I took the necklaces apart. They're not something that I would have worn. And I'm using the beads in this. I just thought they had a really lovely kind of color scheme that goes with the sun catchers, and they are clear. And so I loved that they would, the light would come through them. So I've picked some of the beads that I have in my collection. So I've had these butterflies for a really long time. These comedy tragedy masks, I got a big package of them online. I've used these in a couple of projects, and I thought, oh, that might be kind of fun to include on this. So I'm using that. For the top of, it's out of focus here for you, but at the top of the example, I'm using, this is going to sound funny, but it's a book ring, and I had these in my stash as well. So I'm going to use that on the top of this one as well. I figured that would be kind of easy if you want to hook this onto, I don't know, some outdoor, ring or something like that. That would be easy to get that over some larger feature. All right, so we're going to put these all together. We're actually going to use fishing line. I use fishing line for everything, or monofilament. You would find it as monofilament in your like craft store. You can find it in the fishing aisle too. This particular one is pretty thin. I actually had a thicker one here. This one is a little too thick, I thought, for what I wanted. And the one that I got here, I literally bought it at like Joann fabrics. So literally I'm just going to cut off a piece. This is, I don't know, 8 inches long or so. And I'm going to do this one here first. So I have one of these the comedy tragedy masks, and I'm going to literally going to tie these together. All right, I'm just going to tie this right on like that. And then I'm going to tie it onto the jump ring that we put on the bottom of this first one here. Okay, get in there. Okay, make sure you can see. And I could put some beads in there if I wanted to. I'm not going to. So literally I'm going to tie this. I'm going to knot it. So right over left, left over right to make sure it's a nice solid knot. Actually, we'll do 3 just to be safe. There you go. And then you can cut it off. There we go. There's the bottom one right there. I like it. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next one. So I'm going to grab my monofilament, grab a piece. Okay, and same process. I'm going to put it through. You can see there the top jump ring. Now I'm actually going to, on this one, I'm going to actually put them together just to make it a little bit stronger. Not that it needs to be, this doesn't weigh a whole lot, but I do want to make sure that these are going to be strong, especially if you're out in the, in the wind or something like that. So I'm putting both of them through. You can see through the hole there. Here we go. Put them both through. I'm doing them one at a time because it's a little bit easier. Okay, there we go. See that? Okay, and then through the pink one. You can hear a dog barking outside. All right, and there we go. Okay, and then we're going to again tie this onto, okay, come on, Allison, onto the bottom jump ring. So I'm just going to put it through there and tie this again. I'm doing left over right there. I'm going to do right over left just to make sure it's nice and sturdy. And then I'm going to do one more just to make sure it's nice and secure. And then you can cut it off. Look at that. See how that goes? I love it. It's so cute. All right, so I'm going to do the others, and I'll speed it up so that you can see this a little bit faster, okay? Now, if you notice in the last section, I just, there's a hole right here between the two masks. And so I just put the fishing line through there. And then I added a jump ring onto the top of this that I figure I can hook right into the, into there we go, into the hook there. And that's it. There we go. I think that's so sweet. I love it. I love that you can take flowers from shows that you were in and kind of take them and really make them special. You can see them as you're going about your day outside, if you're enjoying outdoors. You can see the difference between these two. These I had bow, and I had at the bottom of this one I had a star that I had in my stash, and I did that on the top of this one as well. So you can totally do any sort of style. Obviously the example one is a little bit longer just because I had larger stars there, but you could do, I did 3 on these. You could do 4, you could do 2, you could just have 1. Make them as long or as short as you like. So I hope that you will try these. And if you do, please send me pictures so that I can see, celebrate your success in your project. So thank you so much for joining me for this version of Theater Crafts. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye.